Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. This is my final reckoning. They say it twice in this movie. Yeah. Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. I finally get to check it out. It's finally on Paramount Plus. I could have bought it from the store, but Walmart, I said this before, Walmart's doing this thing. Well, they only get for for bigger titles, the 4K and Blu-ray combo pack, and they charge you the price of the 4K for it. So it's like $30. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm not really. I'm kind of short on money nowadays, and I don't have enough to buy everything I want to buy. It's gonna be coming to Paramount Plus at some point. I can watch it for free. Literally watching it for free because I get the service for free through my Spectrum. And there's no ads on this, which is very confusing. But I don't know, maybe the movie's just not. They usually want to be getting, but no. I think I probably should have rewatched Dead Reckoning. It's just Dead Reckoning now. They call it Dead Reckoning Part 1, and they said, forget about it. This isn't a two-parter. Even though this takes place almost right after the events of the last one. So it is a Part 2, but they don't call it a Part 2. They call it the Final Reckoning, and this is supposed to be the last one. But I will point out there is a way they can continue. Even if Tom Cruise is done, they've sort of set up a way, and I'll tell you how. Like when they do this, it's like I thought about it. I'm like, oh, is that why we'll get to it. So where were we at the end of the last one? I did not remember, so I'm trying to watch this. Apparently there is this AI, this rogue AI called the Entity, which wants the control of the world's nuclear powers. Somehow, this whole plot takes almost 6 hours of film time to do. Because, they didn't listen to me when I reviewed the last one, Paramount, Tom Cruise. I said, if you're going to do a part 2, don't make it 3 hours. It's 3 hours. Jesus Christ. There's a point where I thought, surely we should be sure. Because the plot is very simple, but they make it so convoluted. All they have to do, right? They find out that this is connected to the rabbit's foot from 3, because Christopher McQuarrie said, fuck your mystery box, J.J. Abrams. So, we found out it's connected to the rabbit's foot from 3. That's in a submarine that crashed in 2012 in the middle of the Russian Arctic, So they gotta go get that. So in theory, it goes, we have to go do this. We have to go down, get it, use this pill, let the virus connect it, stops the entity. Boom. Seems simple. No. This is a Mission Impossible movie, so we have to take 3 hours to tell this story with time so that Tom Cruise can do unnecessarily long stunts. They have to fail their plan every time they try. I swear to God. Every time they try to do a plan, something goes awry. Right? Like, they start their plan. He's captured by Kittredge. Taken to the President of the United States, who is Angela Bassett now. She secretly sends him to do what he wants to do, while his team, that being Benji, Grace, and random black dude that was working for IMF, but no longer working for IMF, or CIA, whatever. He was working for Kittredge. Was it Ragas or something? I don't know. He's working for Kittredge. Now he's on his side because of reasons we'll get to. So they do that, and they just got to do this simple thing. No, guess what? Some other bad guys have shown up and are trying to stop them. So now we have to sit there while they're hostage and talk and talk and talk and talk until finally there's an action sequence. And then that gets done, and we only have one thing left to do. Then fucking Kittredge shows up. Right? Oh, there's also one thing before where they think they have something going, and then Gabriel, as Morales' character, shows up, does something, prevents that, because now he has this pill, this virus that Luther cooked up to stop it, to confuse it or whatever. So it goes, we have one plan. Gabriel shows up, takes the pill, does something else, we'll get to it. They leave. He's got another plan. Captured by Kittredge, taken to the president. President lets him do his thing. His team goes to do something else. They get captured. Everything, they're all together, they're going to finish this. Kittredge shows up again to ruin it. That's 4 different times. 4? 4 different times in the span of 3 hours that they have a plan that gets disrupted. And somehow their plan ends up working. It's like, we have to keep doing these, we got you things to make this go up to 3 hours. Because there was a point, like I said, where I'm like, okay, it's very simple, he's got to do this. And I'm like, why are we only halfway through the movie at 1 hour and 25 minutes? How is there still 1 hour and 50 minutes left of this movie? And that's to say that the stunts we have are unnecessarily long. As well, because there are scenes, they're not just captured, say what's going to happen. No, they're captured, and we got to sit and talk for 10 minutes. There was a scene where, like I said, Hunt gets captured by Kittredge. She's talking to the president, trying to convince her to give him a aircraft carrier and set him up to do this. This is a 10-minute conversation that leads to her supposedly not doing it because for some reason they can't trust Kittredge. He's got to be another enemy. He can't be on the same side as them, even though they have sort of the same thing. I think Kittredge's supposed to control it or something, but he's supposed to be a CIA. I don't know. So she sneaks him onto the thing, to the aircraft carrier and everything. And then when they get there, there's more talking about what they're going to do instead of just doing it. So what do you need to do? I need this, this, and this. You got to do this and this and this. Yeah, and then I got to do this and this. And my team's going to do this and this. So you're going to do this and this. And I'm like, come on. Why you got to... Why are we... There's so much talking to it. Like, I understand you need dialogue in a movie. I get it. But when you're just sitting there and talking, it's... Then there's the stunts. The stunt you've seen in the trailers with the biplane takes about 15 minutes. Because it should be simple, right? You read down the Wikipedia article, it says this. Hunt chases Gabriel in a biplane, gets onto Gabriel's plane, and gets back the thing, right? So you think, okay, he chases him, he jumps on it just before he flies off. There's a bit of a struggle leading to Gabriel's death. He gets the thing, flies off. No. He is not able to catch up with Gabriel's plane, so he has to get his own plane. Oh, okay. So he finds one, gets in, and flies off, right? Nope. Someone else is flying the plane, and he has to hang underneath the thing and fly up there, then climb his way around, fight the guy, kill the guy, because I think he knocks him unconscious or he kills him, I don't know. Then fly this plane to where Gabriel is, jump off. Somehow the plane doesn't automatically fall when he goes to do it. I don't know how he's trying to control it. Gets onto Gabriel's plane and then has to do the same thing he did with the other plane that he just did. So he's got to do that twice now. And then Gabriel dies. Gabriel's death is the most fucking hilarious thing. Which, in hindsight, it doesn't make much sense. He's like, only one of us has a parachute. Good luck! And immediately cut in half by the tail fin of the plane. But then Hunt has a parachute. So that line no longer makes sense. But then the parachute burns up, and like, oh, this is it. He's gonna die. No, he somehow survives a fall onto a top of a mountain. And all we have for his damage is when he's fighting, he's like, no. You just fell without a parachute from miles and miles above. You're not dead, you're at least paralyzed. Speaking of dead, this movie had me in tears. Because, as I mentioned earlier, Gabriel gets a hold of the pill. Luther has the pill. They call it the pill. He moves Luther into a facility area where there's a bomb. A bomb which Luther can only... Luther's the only one that is the only one that can disarm it, or at least make it so that it doesn't explode over the place. And Ethan can't get in. So Luther has to sacrifice himself so that it saves people and take out blocks, and Ethan's able to do his mission. So yeah, Luther dies. And I cried, man. Luther's been here since the very beginning. They kill him off. And then later Benji gets shot, and I went, I accepted Luther. I will not accept Benny dying, but he's able to get help from the French chick, who for some reason now only speaks French. I swear she spoke English in the last one. Now she's just speaking French. Paris is her name. She's there. Because they get everyone together at the beginning of this, too. It's like, you know. Yeah. And there's an underwater sequence, which people have described it as nerve-wracking. Right? I'm sitting here going, how long is this going to take? Like I said, this is the middle of the movie. And we have this scene of he's underneath the water. And yes, it is nerve-wracking. You know, you're holding your breath. You're like, oh my God. Right? And the more and more I hear this in movies about when you go underwater, it's like when you go up, you're going to get the bends. I thought that was made up for 47 meters down. That doesn't show me a real thing, apparently. If you're too far under and you swim way up, you're going to get the bends. I don't understand how that works. I know no physics. I guess. It always seemed like something they made up for the movie so they can have that twist. But I guess it's a real thing. They bring it out here, you get the Benz. Not a Mercedes Benz, but Benz. Yeah, so they got this deprivation chamber thing or whatever that's gonna fix that. So you got this whole scene that's it's about 10 minutes of him in his submarine, and I'm just like, it reminds me of Thunderball. The water sequences in that movie are some of the most boring things, and this was boring to me. I'm sorry. I mean, I get it how nerve-wracking it can be for some people. I mean, it can get me too, because I'm underwater. Now, he's got the suit on, but still. But yeah, so then he's taken to this chamber thing with Grace. Right? And I'm just like, well, is it doing anything to her when she's in there with him? By the way, you get cleavage here. So you horn dogs. I'm admittedly one of them who want to see Haley Atwell's cleavage. There you go. But yeah. And like, and then when Benji and them go to a place, apparently the guy that's there was in the first one. I didn't recognize him. Ironically, it's one of the only times they don't flash back to something from before. Whenever they mention something, they flash back to it. You don't really flash back to him. No, not really. And that is to say that this movie ends pretty much the same way the other ones would. Like, it's like This is the final one. But they come together, and they basically all say their goodbyes, and they all walk off, and you get the theme song, and it's like, that ended the same way the other ones do. They go their separate ways. They're going to be pulled back together anyway. There's no finality. Like I said, when he was falling, I'm like, oh, he's going to die. This is it. He's just going to... And we'll cut to his funeral. That would have... I just thought of that. That would have been the one. He falls, we cut to his funeral. And then at the funeral, he reveals he's still alive. He's like talking to someone, or there's someone talking to Grace or something, and all of a sudden he takes her some, right? How? It's me. You know? That could have been something, but that's it. You know? And there's one last thing to talk about, but to do that, before I get to that, Tom Cruise is over 60 years old, and he's still doing this shit. I'm assuming he had some sort of harness on this plane, because I'm watching this plane scene. I'm just going, how? And I mean, they had to have done it practically. Like, was it a green screen? Was it a real plane? I'm sure he's like, I'm doing a real plane. You can't. I'm not doing a real plane. I'm doing a real plane. And that's what I don't like about these later ones. It's all become about, because of one scene in Ghost Protocol, now all these have to have big scenes. And they just take up runtime. This did not need to be 3 hours. The plane scene, it's great. But did it need to be 10 to 15 minutes of, because it's just, he does the same thing twice. Right? I don't know. But, so like I said, I have to go back, because I can see how they can continue this. When he's captured by Kittredge, he's talking to Briggs, who is Stasiak from the Fast and the Furious movies. What's his name? He's the father of the girl from the third season of Scream. She was in The Punisher too. Wiggum. Shea Wiggum. He's also in the Death Note movie, which I think is actually fine. Shea Wiggum. He revealed, he's like, well, my name is something Briggs. He's like, no, that's not your name. Your real name's Jim Phelps. Your father was Jim Phelps. And he's like, oh, my father. Hey, you framed him. No, he was a bad guy. He was a bad guy. And at the end, they shake hands. He's like, okay. You know, like he forgives him for what happened. So my thought is, they can reboot this with Shea Wiggum as the guy who is in control, and he's Jim Phelps, and we can bring in a new team led by Jim Phelps, right? That's how they can reboot it. He's an older gentleman like Peter Graves was, you know. That's how they do it. Give it about 5 years or so, you could do a sort of soft reboot of the Mission Impossible movies, right? Which is what they had planned to do with Rogue Nation. Is like Rogue Nation was supposed to, they were supposed to, or was it not Rogue Nation, the other one? They were supposed to pass it on to Jeremy Renner, and then he came back with Rogue Nation, and then they didn't do anything, and then Jeremy Renner disappeared. I'm waiting for him to show up at some point. I had my heart. I thought Luther was going to show up at some point. Like, it's all a trap. Gabriel becomes the most inconsequential thing in this movie. Like, he was a sort of human working with the entity in the first one. Then he's like, the entity, he's like, no, you're fired. So now he's going out sort of on his own. Then after he kills Luther, he disappears for almost the entire film. Until the end. He's just like, oh, I followed you here. Now, how the fuck did you know he was going to be there? I'll give it a middle of the road. There are better ones. They have, you know, when the stunts happen, I'm sort of numb to the Tom Cruise stunts in this, because it's just like, they gotta find a way to do bigger and better, and I'm just sitting here going, it's just, why did we have to see him fight someone on a plane twice? Why couldn't he just be on the plane, his own plane that he found, fly up, jump off? Why did he have to do it twice? It's just wasting time, right? So what are your thoughts on Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.